surely when you promised that you would end it within 100 days, you knew what you were going to do, right?
Well, I've been very clear that it's a very complex situation in regards to leasehold. We will abolish the current system.
It's part of a pattern, is that you, in opposition, pledged to do lots of things that you said were going to be simple, and now you're not doing them. Another one, for example, is we heard the Prime Minister this week, just a minute, Deputy Prime Minister, we heard the Prime Minister this week saying we were going to have 95% clean power rather than 100% clean power, whilst at the same time saying that the target hadn't changed. Well, it had changed, hadn't it? It had come down by 5%. People just hear politicians moving the goalposts.
Lewis, you were so good on my manifesto before. If you look at the manifesto, there was always a reserve, which has always been part to ensure that there is safety within the supply system. So you're trying to compare apples and pears. Our manifesto,
then why did you say 100%?
The security of our energy supplies is critical, and there would be a reserve, and that's not a backtracking.
Andrew Neil, known for his provocative questioning, faced off against Angela Rayner, and the tension was unmistakable. From the outset, it was evident that she was on the defensive. Neil posed straightforward yet penetrating questions about Labour Party politics, each one seemingly undermining her confidence. Rayner's responses were muddled and surprisingly unconvincing, as if she herself doubted her statements. She attempted to defend the Labour Party's plans, but the supporting facts were glaringly absent. Neil, relentless in his approach, pressed for clarity, and in that moment, Rayner appeared increasingly bewildered, as if her world was crumbling around her. The statistics she referenced proved to be inaccurate, and her political arguments lacked coherence. At one point, it became clear that she recognized her struggle to keep up, and a look of despair crossed her face. This was more than just a debate, it was a complete breakdown, leaving her exposed and vulnerable to the harsh realities of the situation.
You made 10 policy pledges for this campaign. Let's see how watertight they are. Can you guarantee that under your leadership, the 2019 Labour commitments to nationalise water, energy, rail, the Royal Mail, they'll all be in Labour's next election manifesto?
I've made that commitment. The pledges I've made indicate the direction of travel, but I am well aware that there's a huge amount of work that needs to be done between now and 2024, because that 2024 manifesto has to reflect the state of the nation in 2024 and face the late 2020s.
And things change. I understand.
Well,
I understand
a lot
that,
of things
and I
will
don't
change.
want you. I'm not asking you to write the manifesto, but those 4 industries will be in the Labour manifesto for nationalisation come 2024.
This refusal to answer resonated deeply with the disillusioned public. Critics seized the opportunity to remind everyone that Labour had previously vowed to tackle immigration, yet the number of migrants continues to rise dramatically. Will these proposed homes genuinely address the housing crisis, or are they merely another empty promise lacking substance? What's even more troubling is how unrealistic that commitment appears. In many parts of the UK, families have been waiting for years for housing, and their hopes are slowly fading. Meanwhile, the public is acutely aware that Labour has done too little to address the issues of overpopulation and skyrocketing rents. Rather than providing clarity and assurance, Raina and Starmer's evasive responses only fuel distrust and skepticism, leaving people feeling confused and let down.
They will. They're baseline indicators of where we're going. I think that we'll need to think about how we do it. Well, they will be. They are. What I'm saying to the members here is we need to build the case from where we are now to 2024. Lots of things are going to change between now and 2024. It's not unlikely that we'll be leaving the EU without a deal. We don't know what the state of the economy will be. Manufacturing could well take a hit. So we're going to have to craft that 2024 manifesto looking forward. My pledges are an indication to our members as to what I think is important, the direction of travel and what we will build.
The question is clear and leaves no room for doubt. If Labour cannot honestly specify who will benefit from these houses, how can voters trust their plans even for a moment? The British public has run out of patience, fed up with grand promises that turn out to be mere words. People want more than just talk about building houses. They want to know who will live in them, Who will have the opportunity for a better future, and who will finally find hope? One of the most infuriating aspects is Labour's decision to delay the election until 2026 to 2027. For many, this isn't just a postponement. It feels like a desperate attempt to cling to power at any cost, a survival tactic. The timing of this decision raises serious suspicions, as if Labour is trying to conceal its true intentions from voters who deserve honesty and transparency.
Starmer, a pledge is not an indication. A pledge is a word, is your word. It's a pledge.
I'm not disputing that. I don't have any problem.
So is it a pledge that these industries will be in your manifesto for nationalisation?
Yes, it is. The point I'm making to you is the manifesto will have to have a lot more than that.
Of course, I understand
This is not a manifesto.
Well, what about university tuition fees then? Will you remain committed to scrapping them in your first term?
They're all pledges, Andrew. So the answer to these questions is yes.
So university tuition fees being scrapped will be in a Starmer manifesto?
Yes, that's why it's a pledge.
The next election. Okay. Why then doesn't the Labour left trust you?
Well,
the Labour Party's approval ratings are plummeting, and they are acutely aware of this decline. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage's Reform Party is gaining strength with each passing day. Once viewed as a minor contender, Farage has now become a significant threat. His direct approach allows him to forge a strong connection with voters who feel overlooked by the political elite. So, what is the Labour Party doing? Instead of confronting the challenge head-on, they are stalling, seemingly hoping that the situation will resolve itself. This behavior has not gone unnoticed, and people are outraged. The delay in the election suggests that the Labour Party is evading responsibility, while trust in their leadership teeters on the brink of collapse. The polls tell a clear story. Voters are fed up with unfulfilled promises and poorly thought-out plans. Rather than addressing the issues they have created, the Labour Party continues to engage in political manoeuvring.
I'm asking you a question. What's the cut in the capital gains tax?
They've cut the capital gains tax. They did that. They did that as part of the coalition government.
No, they raised the capital gains tax in the coalition government.
Well, what I'm saying, Andrew,
what you're saying is wrong. They raised the capital gains tax to 28%.
What I'm saying is that they've given tax cuts to absolutely the richest in the country at the same time where they've told the poorest people in this country over the past, it is true, at the same time that you've told the people in this country over the last 6 years, we've got to cut our coffee. No, let me finish this point because you've interrupted me and I want to make this point. It's really serious to people in this country that you've told people we've got to live within our means, we've got to have this austerity, we've got to cut. You've cut, and do you know what? Debt's rising and the amount of money that's going into the economy, you know, you've not made it better. Our economy is worse as a result of 6 years of austerity. And now you're saying all of a sudden we can spend money.
No, hold on.
The key question here is why delay the elections? If Labour truly believes in its vision, why are they hesitant to face the voters? Their actions speak volumes. This isn't merely an effort to formulate better policies. It's a desperate attempt to evade embarrassment. An increasing number of voters are using this as a reason to explore alternatives. The rise in Farage's popularity isn't just a threat. It clearly shows that people are craving change. While Labour's delay may provide a temporary advantage, it will ultimately lead to a significant erosion of public trust. Labour claims to be committed to addressing the issues facing the UK, but their actions tell a different story. Angela Rayner continues to assert that Labour is the answer to the country's problems, yet the public remains unconvinced. Why? Because those who have supported this nation for decades, farmers, pensioners and working families, feel neglected and overlooked. Their hopes have been shattered and they are demanding change.
And that's wrong because you're just off now. No,
let me bring you back to let me bring you back to the question. Look, you think there may be an election coming up, so you need to get your policies right. What would the capital gains tax be under a Labour government and how much would that raise compared to now?
But I've told you, Andrew, what our priority is. It's about how we invest in our public services.
No, I'm asking you how you would raise the money. How much money would you recoup?
Excuse me,
it's important you ask the questions because you want people's votes. How much extra money would you raise by changing the current corporation tax and capital gains tax structures?
It wasn't just a challenging interview. It served as a wake-up call. If the Labour Party's leadership struggles to articulate its promises under pressure, what does that reveal about their true intentions? Social media erupted. with clips from the interview flooding feeds, prompting people to question whether this is truly the future of Labour. Even their most devoted supporters appeared disappointed and bewildered. Neil's interview not only exposed Angela Rayner's lack of preparation, but also underscored a much deeper issue that concerns everyone. Promises may sound impressive in speeches, but when scrutinized by a sharp mind like Andrew Neil's, the reality becomes undeniable. The harsh truth is that Rayner was unable to defend Labour's ambitious proposals, and the public took notice. This failure was a setback not just for her, but for the entire party, leaving many feeling confused and uncertain about what lies ahead.
Andrew, we've talked about in absolute detail about the current tax system, and we said actually that the money, that the decisions that the government have made and the decisions on where they're spending current money is completely inappropriate.
So how much would you say?
You've cut 50%. In my constituency, both of my councils have seen over 50% cuts to their budget. No. So all of the people that need support are in acute services now, crippling our NHS.
So you would be able to give them more money by changing the corporation tax and changing the capital gains tax to raise more money.
You don't cut taxes when you need that money to help. You should be investing.
You don't know, do you?
You should be investing
in those
services. No, Andrew, I'm talking about investment with the money we've currently got.
If you can't back up your statements, how can you expect anyone to trust you as a leader? Labour's ambitious promise to build 1.5 million homes sounded impressive. But the real issue was that Angela Rayner couldn't address the crucial question. In an interview shortly after her challenging encounter with Andrew Neil, she faced a tough inquiry. Who will actually benefit from these homes? Will they go to British families in need of affordable housing, or will they be allocated to immigrants? Her response was marked by silence, evasion, and a refusal to provide a clear answer. She claimed that Labour's housing plan was intended for everyone, but when confronted with specific questions, she sidestepped the issue, leaving viewers confused and bewildered. This wasn't just a failure to answer, it was a sign of weakness that raised serious concerns. Share your thoughts in the comments, and see you next time.